Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie, and welcome back to the DraftKings DFS Slate breakdown. And on our agenda this time, we have a UCL slate. It's been months since we had our last one. I'm super excited to get back into it. A seven gamer. We haven't had a classic slate of this size in quite some time, and I'm just super excited for it. We have a ton of games though, so let's go straight to the lineups and set pieces for Slovan Bratislava. It should be some combo of Vice, Barshegian, and Tolic. All three of them can take. I think Barshegian's probably the most likely for something just because he's a lefty. I think the other two guys are right-footed options. And then for Stuttgart and this team, it should be a Furyk and Stiller split. Mio has taken a little bit as well, but it should be just those two guys mainly. They let Furyk sit out of their last league game. Played Stillard, he went off though, so good form for him. I think both of these guys could do really well here. Atletico Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen should mostly be Griezmann, and then either Alvarez or DePaul potentially taking a little bit of one-offs, but mostly Griezmann. And then for Leverkusen, it should be Wirtz and Grimaldo splitting. Benfica and Barca, it should be Coach Goo, and then I want to say Akertolu splits, but oh god, Sheldrup could take. I've never heard this guy's name pronounced, so I have no clue if that's correct. But it should be Coach Goo on one side at least, and then for Barcelona, it should mostly be Rafinha, with Pedri taking a couple of one-offs. Bologna Dortmund. Miranda will take one side, and then it's a bit of a toss-up whether it's like Orsolini or like Moro if he starts on the other. And then for Dortmund, it should be Gross. I say Monopoly in this team. Ben Sebaini has taken a lot, but he's suspended. I don't really think there's another left-footed option. If Adeyemi starts, he'd probably be a candidate to take. Brandt could also end up alphaing too, but I just doubt it. Bruges and Juventus, De Kuiper and Jashari split potentially here. De Kuiper Monopoly maybe as well. It's interesting they have no Zolis in projected. If he starts, I think he'd split with De Kuiper mainly. And then for Juventus, it should mostly be Koopmeiners. And if Yildiz starts, there's a chance that he splits as well. And Locatelli also has an off chance of splitting also. Red Star and PSV, I think it'll be, I want to say Elsnik in this team. I'm not 100% sure. They've got this super talented youngster, Illich, who sometimes starts on the wing and he takes when he plays. But it's a little bit of a wait and see for them, frankly. There's a lot of guys who could end up a play that could take. And then for PSV, it should be Noah Lang in this team. Joey Veerman might start though, and he'd be the guy with priority there. Bakayoko has also taken a little bit as well, as has Tillman. But Tillman's dealing with an injury, so he's out, so I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, so it should be Veerman or Lang, depending on who starts. Liverpool and Lille. This is a super interesting Liverpool lineup. No Alexander-Arnold, no McAllister. It makes me want to say it'll be a semi-cost monopoly in this team. Chance of Chiesa or Jones split though, so it's not a sure thing by any means. It's just only if it's like this kind of exact lineup, like no Alexander-Arnold and no McAllister are what you're looking for there. Otherwise, it'll probably be Alexander-Arnold and whoever starts at left back, whether that be Robertson or Tsimikas. McAllister could also end up taking as well, though. Should mostly be Cabela for Lille. Bakker, chance of splitting also. And they're pretty simple. All right. Prices. Liverpool and Stuttgart are the two big favorites here at minus 400-ish. You have 350 for Liverpool and minus 400 for Stuttgart. Then all these other games are basically 50-50s, minus hundreds on a couple of them like Barca and PSV. So because of that, the team that on paper to target is Liverpool and Stuttgart, but you can definitely get to any of those guys. Salah, 11K is big decision on this slate. I think he'll be super popular. I worry a little bit about them potentially subbing him early if the game is comfortable. Liverpool are like 3 points top of the uh table, although it doesn't matter a huge amount. You just become like top four, I think. You get like the number, what is it? I think you get a bye or something. You go straight to the knockout rounds. It's kind of confusing, frankly. But basically, it doesn't. There's not a ton of incentive to come top, and they're I don't want to say guaranteed to come into that top bracket, but they're pretty close. So like Salah, I like, but like I said, there's some concern there. Griezmann, I don't love with the matchup. I think Leverkusen are a good team. There's a chance that game could end up being pretty high scoring and end to end, but I kind of want a little bit better flow. If I'm playing that price, Liverpool are going to dominate Lille, so I should have plenty of the ball. You can say the same for Rafinha in Barcelona. Like there's Lewandowski, who I loved when they were like completely mispricing him at the start, like at 7K. At 10, a little bit more fair. Like I think that's a debatable play. I don't have Alvarez. I think just worse version of Griezmann. But yeah, Salah Rafinha are my two favorite forwards at first glance here. I don't think there's a huge need to go for like a Chiesa or Luis Diaz or whoever starts there in cash games at least. I'd get to a Salah, I'd get to Rafinha, even Griezmann, I'd go over those guys. But they're good GPP pivots. Noah Lang, kind of interesting. He's just an issue for minutes a lot of the time. And he doesn't have a ton of upside typically. Like he doesn't get a ton of goal contributions like you see with a Salah or a Rafinha. But it's not a bad matchup, and I don't mind that as a play. Like I said though, I still go Rafinha or Salah over him. There's pay up options. Things like Yamini Mall. I like if he was a little bit cheaper. And then we get into the Stuttgart guys. They're all super cheap. I think the two options you can go is like a cheap Stuttgart forwards, or one or both of them even. We'll get to them. Or like you can double pay up and try to find value elsewhere. But they're super good plays, like Undav, not projected to start. Demirovic, who is projected to start. I could see them just rolling both of them up top, wouldn't surprise me at all. Both Tamada could end up playing as well. But they're super tempting at that price. They're both minus odds to score. I think they're the only guys besides Salah who are. So like, there's definitely a strong argument to go there over your payups. Potentially some combo of both those guys, like a Rafinha or Salah, and then one of Undav or Demirovic, or maybe both the Stuttgart guys pay up at mid or D, use that salary elsewhere. But there's a ton of ways to go for sure. And I like there's some good options kind of at both ends of the spectrum. Anyone else like Akertolu for GPP? Sure. Like those are like the kind of 4 or 5 guys. It's always if he starts, I'd be super tempted by as well. But those are kind of like the 4 or 5 guys I'd consider for cash and probably will make up most of my GPP builds. Everyone else, I think, is going to get potentially overlooked, even in GPP potentially. Like there's just some really great options, like at the 6K and like the high end range. But yeah, you can really make an argument for any of these guys in GPP. Big field, and you can definitely find a differential there if not going those guys. But for cash, like I said, those 4 or 5 guys are who I think about going. Midfielders, Olmo is out. Still, have they just not registered him? No, he's injured. So I don't know if that's like still an issue for them. But Wirtz, 8,600. I don't mind Wirtz. I let he's kind of a tough matchup there. And he's hard to get to if you're paying up at forward. If you're not, I could see the argument there, but I don't know if that's really what you want to be using your salary on. Mio, he's like expensive compared to the other Stuttgart guys who we will get to. But sure, like Stuttgart's in a good spot. I don't mind that. I'm not Bierman if he starts, I don't mind. Reader if he starts would be super nice. I haven't seen him projected anywhere, which is I kind of forgot about him. He'd likely have sets over Stiller, and he's got a lot more upside there. Had that great game against Young Boys. I had him. Had like that was like his first good game of the year. But 2,700 for Furyk, I think, is not bad at all. Szoboszlai, if there's like no McAllister, Alexander Arnold, he'd probably be the next guy to start. Like if it was, where's the Liverpool lineup? If it was like this team with like Szoboszlai for Elliott, I expect him to split with Simicast. I'd love that at 6K. Pedri, meh. McAllister, don't mind if it's same thing. If he ends up starting in that midfield three. And no Alexander Arnold. Gross. I don't think Gross is a terrible play. He's just not been great for upside. That's the issue there. Not an awful matchup, but when you're kind of a team that makes games pretty dead, like I don't expect it to be a goal fest. And because of that, it makes Gross a little bit less appealing for a guy who doesn't have a ton of upside anyway. But at 5,900, I don't think that's bad at all. Now we get into the Stucker guys. Stiller right here and Furyk right here. Both 5K-ish. I think they're both really good. I love the matchup. Both of them just find ways to get points. Stiller, like, he's just good for at least a 10. He's had a 10 even in these tougher matchups. And against Slovan, where they're going to have a ton of the ball, I can see him getting 15 floor easily. And then a goal contribution on top of that, he's got, what, 25 points or so for 5K. That's a super tempting route. And then Furyk, a little bit less floor, a little bit less guaranteed minutes than Stiller, but he's got great upside. Like this is the matchup where you expect him to hit those higher numbers, get that goal against young boys. Um, and I see no reason why he can't do that again against Slovan. He's going to be rested after not playing their last league game. Like Furyk a lot here. I might like him even more than Stiller just because he's cheaper, and you're going to need a lot more upside on a slate with this many games. Koopmeiners, Coach Goo, sure. I wouldn't go them over the Stuttgart guys or even Gross, though, in cash. Hoffman, if he somehow played. Is he injured? He was on the bench last game. If he somehow started against the sets there, I don't mind that at 4,900. This is like a stacked 5K range here. If you want to go cheaper than that, I don't think there's a ton here. Synchronockel, I think, is on his way out or already gone. Illich Shore's talking about. I don't mind that at 4K. This is the right Illich, right? Yeah, Luka Illich. Barely played, but there's definitely something there with this kid. I think he's got a lot of talent. Not a ton down here. I think that 5K range is where it's at, really. I think some combo of those guys is what you really want to be targeting here. Yeah, I don't love a lot of these 3K guys, really. I could have missed someone, though. So make sure to join the FSI Discord and or through the website if you want more in-depth course at lock where I will go through every lineup, similar like I do now, but with guys who I know are playing, and answer questions. All right, defenders. Alexander Arnold, I hope he doesn't start. It'd make life a lot easier. With him in, I'd probably just end up playing. He'd probably be my favorite defender, but if he's not there, like we saw in projected with Bradley or something, Simicast I like a lot more. Grimaldo, I'm tempted, even though I think they're technically dogs. Atleti are not a team that dominates the game. He's got a ton of upside, especially if they trot out this lineup where he's like almost like a left winger and they're playing with like essentially six defenders. He's basically, yeah, like another attacker, 4-6K with set pieces. I like that a lot. Bradley, I wouldn't go at that much. He was like 3K for like last Prem slate or whatever. Didn't end up playing, unfortunately. But yeah, at 6, I don't love it. The Kuiper, I just don't think it's the same upside as Alexander Arnold. Is Middlestad injured still? He's an option. If is he in projected? Where are they? Is this the game? No. Here. Yeah, he's on projected, but if Middlestad starts, I could see it. He could end up taking sets as well. But 6,800 just is a hefty price. I think I'd rather go Alexander Arnold than him if it came down to that. I'd even probably rather go Simicast or Grimaldo, I feel like, over him. Especially if it's like a back four. But yeah, those are like the best top end defenders. If not going that route, who would I go? Look at Giannis if he starts. There's Miranda too. I hope it's not him just because he's a lot more expensive. They're like the same guy pretty much. They're like a piece taking left back. Man, I'm struggling to find true, really nice punts here. Rierson's not bad. Carreras is okay. Balde wouldn't be bad if he starts. I don't even know if he's healthy either. I think he is. Bakker. I can get behind the 3K Bakker. I know they're big dogs against Liverpool, but he's another set piece taking attacker essentially in a defender slot, and he's 3K. Like I think it's a super solid play there over your pay up Ds. If you want to do that route and get a little bit more expensive in forward and mid. There's no one else I'm super intrigued by, frankly. Everyone else is kind of just punts. I saw Konate, 3K center back, 2,900 center back, sure. Ismaili, 2,900 left back, sure. But yeah, I talked about the guys who I really like. I usually tend to target set piece defenders where I can. Goalkeeper, as always, crapshoot. Play who you land on. I say it every time. In terms of a core, what would I do? I think a popular thing will be starting with Angelo Stiller at 5,600, guaranteed 90 minutes. I might even double down and go Burek and Stiller. The only hesitation I have on that is Pascal Gross, probably. Like I could see him being super popular. I'm kind of dependent on lineup with him. Like if Adeyemi is in, it'd make me like him a little bit less. But he might end up just with a monopoly anyway, even with Adeyemi, just because he's like the main set guy. Adeyemi has seemed like a hesitant taker when he's taken. Like, I don't think he loves doing it. So yeah, it's hard to. I don't know if I fully want to commit to both of them. I might just say Salah, and if it, I might put like a Simicast or Grimaldo or something. I'm super undecided, as you can tell what I do here. I'm gonna go Salah, Simicast, Grimaldo for now. That's what I'm gonna have as my prelim core here. Of course, I'm very likely to change, frankly. A lot of guys I really like. But for the updated ones, as I said, check out the FSI Discord, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.